much indeed for all of those. Now, how are the government and council cuts affecting rail travel here in the West? Railway campaign groups are going head-to-head in Bristol tonight to tell us how they think the railway should be run. One of the speakers is Crawford from Transport for the Greater Bristol Alliance, and joins us on the programme. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Steve.
Massive subject, isn't it? And a long runner as well. And what are your visions really for the network? How do you think things can change over the next 10 years or so?
Well, the key immediately is who secures the rail franchise, which will determine what happens to rail infrastructure for the next 15 years.
Yeah. We're hoping to talk to Dan Paynes from First Great Western on that very subject, but we can't get through to him at this moment.
Yeah, well, it's important that investment is made, and the contradiction is the McNulty report, which the government has issued, calls for reduced investment in rails. So on one hand, you've got one department calling for more investment, that'll be the DFT, and you've got the McNulty report, which comes out of the Pickles department. I think his name's Eric Pickles.
Yeah.
And it's calling for cuts, reduced investment, cuts to rail staff in the stations and on the trains.
Yeah, mixed with the fact that the fares are going up.
Exactly. I mean, it's madness. I mean, when you look at the cost of congestion to all of us, which is a figure that nobody connects with, it's several billions, but we all pay for that when we're buying our goods in our local stores and shops. We pay the price for that congestion.
Money is tight, Ian, though. You know, we all know that. I mean, is this a meeting for a wish list, or is it for something that realistically can be done to tangibly make a difference in transport here?
Well, it's to make a difference. It's a campaign called Together for Transport, an initiative by one of the rail unions to call on the government to fund our railways properly and to expand our railway infrastructure. So one of the unions is leading on this, and that's brought the meeting about in Bristol tonight.
And what do you want to see? The Portishead route, that's been a long runner, hasn't it? And there's sort of a slight light at the end of the tunnel, but how many times have we said that?
Well, yeah. Well, the good news is that the Transport for Greater Bristol Alliance are now engaged with the West of England Partnership, which is the 4 local authorities, as you know, in driving forward a proposition on rail for local rail, I must emphasise, not high-speed rail, but local rail, which will help us all with our getting to work and our social commitments.
Yeah, and then we're talking about the Friends of Suburban Bristol Railways, of course, with that plan to try and get that circular route round the city going again.
Yeah, well, we're all supporting that.
What, getting I suppose stations like Hallen, Henbury, those sorts of places, Ashley Hill, get them all up and running? Yeah,
that's it. I mean, the amazing thing about all this is the history, as you probably know. Avon County Council had a terrific plan which opened up stations at St Anne's and various other places around the city and connected them into the railway infrastructure. New stations were on the agenda, but we haven't had a new station now for something like a couple of decades. Right,
so who have you got tonight then? Who are the big hitters, Ian?
Speakers from the rail unions, Mark Bradshaw speaking for the Labour group on transport, myself for the Transport Alliance. So hopefully out of this we'll continue to strengthen the lobby for use of the railways, which do exist around Bristol, but are just not utilised for passenger rail services at the moment.
All right. Well, as I say, Dan Paynes, spokesman for First Great Western, was booked to be with us this morning, but arriving late, unfortunately, so we haven't got him. But it would have been interesting to hear about that video.